You know, it seems sadly appropriate to the last decade of Star Wars releases that the keeping or losing of faith in the face of trial and disappointment is one of the canon's themes. So what of Star Wars The Force Unleashed, which I'm playing here on the 360? Can it possibly live up to its hype, or is it doomed to failure because of it? The game centres around new, Lucas-approved material set between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, and helps bridge the gap between the two trilogies with an interesting and largely successful plot, which I won't spoil for you here. There's at least one decent ending, although the non-canon alternative ending, depending on your choices towards the end, is a bit silly. The artwork is generally fantastic and captures that classic Star Wars feel really well, although you do sometimes get the feeling with the art and the dialogue that they're trying a bit too hard to graft this new instalment onto the existing canon. The various engines make the destructive powers of the Force look very pretty in places, and the use of Euphoria gives all those troopers quite a real, if not necessarily intelligent, feel. There are bits of ugliness though, for example the walking animations, which are horrible. The music is a mix of existing Star Wars movie soundtrack and new music composed specifically for the game, and although it is John Williams' well-established themes that stand out, the new stuff isn't bad at all. And so to the gameplay. On the surface, there's a lot about this that's great. There's a nice mix between battles in huge locations with large swarms of enemies and more personal duels with other Force wielders, just like you would expect from the films. You also have access to a wide array of exciting Force powers to unleash on your enemies, which you can level up in different ways. Like Luke on Dagobah, there are a number of things holding this great potential back. While your main character, Starkiller, is nicely agile and the Force powers fun to harness and reasonably intuitive to control, they are seriously hampered by a horrible auto-lock mechanism which makes selecting targets and aiming directional powers a bitch. The lightsaber is initially quite fun, if for no other reason than that it's a lightsaber, even if Starkiller does hold it backwards, and there are a bunch of cool combos for it that you can unlock when levelling up. But even with these, it's a pretty button-mashy affair, and it doesn't always respond as quickly as you'd like. The play balance is also very even throughout the game, so while they're not super smart and you do get to throw them around, the basic troops are enough of a thorn in your side that you never really get that godlike feeling of stalking through a room and casting these lesser beings aside like puppets. But at the same time, the duel sequences with key Jedi or formidable beasts or vehicles are decidedly unchallenging and underwhelming. Another problem with the duel sequences is the horrible fixed camera employed, which often diffuses the excitement by pulling right back from the action. And it also has completely unnecessary and out-of-place quick-time events to achieve spectacular finishes. The regular camera isn't brilliant either, and definitely on the slow side, although there are nice touches like occasionally taking control to give you a close-up on a fallen stormtrooper, which does help create that living in a movie feel. And it's clear that one of the things the development team was striving for in this game was the feeling that you're actually participating in a Star Wars movie. They were pretty successful in this, but I think the goal itself in some ways undermines the project. By constantly thinking of this from a movie perspective, then many gameplay elements have been developed in a direction that takes away from the title's success as a game, and turns it into a dressed-up run and gun requiring less skill or thought from the player than it should. That's not to say that it's not enjoyable or worth playing, and I'm certainly not going to go into an Anakin-style strop and throw all my Star Wars toys out of the pram. But it could have been so much more. 4 stars.